The current economic and business environments are forcing business leaders to evaluate ways to reduce costs while still increasing innovation. So where do you start? Since most manufacturers and distributors have more inventory than needed, inventory reduction is a great area in which to focus. What if you were able to reduce your raw material inventory by 20%? How about reducing the amount of time your purchasing department interacts with certain vendors by as much as 80%? What would this mean to your bottom line? And what other business benefits could emerge from these activities? After we review some of the ways to assist in reducing your inventory, we'll talk about an American manufacturer that was able to improve business performance by reducing inventory costs by $4 million. And that was just the beginning. The first areas we will discuss are supplier collaboration and vendor-managed inventory. The key to supplier collaboration is providing your supply chain with a real-time communications environment. By improving supply chain visibility, supplier collaboration can result in time savings, reduced inventory, and reduced procurement costs. Vendor-managed inventory is a supply chain practice where the inventory is monitored, planned, and managed by the vendor on behalf of the manufacturer. Inventory levels are based on the expected demand and on previously agreed minimum and maximum inventory levels. The benefit of VMI is the reduction in inventory costs because the vendor is holding the inventory at their location. In order to provide real-time communication, your vendors will need access to your enterprise system. The first step is to set up a secure supplier portal for the vendors that you want to allow access to your system. After establishing a username and a sign-on, you'll need to determine what information you want to make available to your vendor. Highlighted in red at the top of the screen are some examples of the information that you might make available to your vendor. Your inventory levels, events such as review quotes or send drawings, open items, last year's top items, and open and paid invoices. Here is an example of what a vendor would see after drilling into open items. This would give your vendor a detailed look at all open items, including part numbers, required dates, quantity ordered, and the open quantity that needs to ship. Vendors would also have the ability to review purchase order releases for individual items. This provides the vendor with an expanded view of current requirements along with future requirements. The purchase order releases give the vendor the ability to plan for future requirements without you having to call, fax, or email any information to them, thus freeing up your purchasing department to focus on more value-added activities. The next area we want to focus on is e-Kanban. Kanban is Japanese for sign or signboard. Used in production operations, it denotes a signal for production to begin or for material to be moved. According to the American Production and Inventory Control Society, Kanban is a method of just-in-time production that uses standard containers or lot sizes with a single card attached to each. It is a pull system in which work centers signal with a card that they wish to withdraw parts from feeding operations or suppliers. A simple example of a Kanban system implementation might be a 3-bin system for the supplied parts, with 1 bin on the factory floor, 1 bin in the factory warehouse, and 1 bin at the supplier's facility. When the production process consumes the bin on the factory floor, a signal is created to pull the bin from the factory warehouse. At this point, another signal is created and communicated to the supplier that a new bin is required for delivery, typically signaled by a simple scan of a barcode. To summarize, Kanbans enable a demand pull production execution system. Each Kanban signals the need to replenish, at a specific consuming location, a specific quantity or specific part from a specific supply location. Now that we know what a Kanban is, let's focus on an e-Kanban. Essentially, what an e-Kanban system does is formalize the communication process and eliminate many of the manual errors that arise from faxing Kanban orders or emailing spreadsheets to suppliers, which is how many companies send Kanban signals to their vendors. There is no rekeying or paper handling with e-Kanban. The signal goes from a barcode on a bin to an electronic order to a supplier, usually applied against a blanket purchase order, thus eliminating all of the manual processing. The e-Kanban gives suppliers better order visibility, which will improve on-time delivery performance. Another benefit with the procurement process is the reduction of the non-value-added activities, thus allowing the procurement department to focus on negotiating better pricing and more time to analyze supplier delivery and quality performance. Here are two simple examples of Kanban triggers that, once scanned, create an electronic signal to your vendor signaling that a specific quantity of a specific part is required in a specific time frame. By utilizing vendor-managed inventory and electronic Kanban capabilities in conjunction with traditional MRP systems, the result is a leaner and more effective procurement process. Now that we know how e-Kanban and supplier collaboration works, let's talk about an American manufacturer and what impact these concepts had on their business performance. TPI Corporation is located in Gray, Tennessee, and is one of the largest manufacturers of industrial and commercial electric heat, lighting, ventilation, and controls. TPI products are sold worldwide to customers ranging from the industrial engineer and professional contractor to consumer markets serving residential, commercial, and industrial trades. TPI began working with selected suppliers and established which supply parts they wanted to set up as Kanbans. Once the program was fully implemented and their suppliers were now carrying the appropriate inventory levels for them, TPI was able to reduce inventory costs by 20%, or more than $4 million. With the reduction of inventory, TPI was able to reduce warehouse space, which gave them the ability to add an additional manufacturing line. This added line helped reduce time to market from 4 to 6 weeks, all the way down to only 3 to 4 days. This time to market reduction was a key factor in competing with overseas manufacturers and resulted in an increase in sales of 10% year over year. In order to achieve any of the benefits associated with e-Kanban or supplier collaboration, you will need an enterprise system that provides you with the proper tools to support these activities. Once the system is in place, you'll need to target certain suppliers and certain components. Focusing on high-volume suppliers or high-dollar components will have the greatest impact to your bottom line. Every manufacturer and distributor has more inventory than needed. If you can implement the concepts above, you can reduce your inventory carry costs, increase turns, and improve your bottom line.